Cyclopath lets you edit the streets and trails that make up the bicycle transportation network. What this means, for example, is that if there's a shortcut missing from the map, you can add it, or if construction has changed the configuration of an area, you can fix it up to reflect the new reality. This video will show you the basics of this editing. The first situation that we'll look at is a bicycle trail on the west bank of the University of Minnesota. So let's zoom in a little bit. It's very helpful when you're editing streets and trails to turn on the aerial photos layer by ticking this checkbox right here. One thing that's very important is for you to not use other geographic sources while you edit Cyclopath. So for example, close your Google Earth window and put away any paper maps that you might have. And this will protect Cyclopath from copyright problems, which could be extremely troublesome. So let's zoom in once more and observe that this trail here, this actually follows quite closely the markings that are on these aerial photos. But it turns out that since these photos were taken, the university has put in a bunch more lawn here. So this no longer reflects the true alignment of this path. Now we can fix that. I'll click, and this block here is selected. And you can see that the vertices of this block are marked with these little blue squares. Now I can click on one vertex and drag it like this. So now this more accurately reflects the new alignment of this bike path. There's another situation down here that I'd like to look at. And that's 21st Avenue South here. You can see that it doesn't really match the aerial photo right here. And since I know this area, I know that this right here, this is what it's actually like. So we need to move it a little bit. We can do that. I'll click on it and then click on this vertex and drag it over like that. Now note that these other two blocks, they came along for the ride when I moved this intersection. That's because this checkbox up here, sticky intersections, is checked. If we were to uncheck it and try the same thing, you can drag one block away from another like this. Now right now that's not what we want, so I'll hit the undo button. Another situation is this bike path right here. Now this should connect to 4th Street, but it doesn't, so let's fix that. I'll select it, and I'll drag the vertex down here like this. Now note that over in this intersection, there's a little widget drawn. Same with over here, but here there's not. What this means is that Cyclopath knows that there's an intersection here. It knows that 4th Street connects to 21st Avenue. But over here, it doesn't. Cyclopath isn't smart enough to make these connections automatically, so you have to assist it and tell it where they are. To do that, choose the New Intersection tool right up here, and then mouse over. And you can see that when we approach a potential intersection, that is, when two blocks either cross visually or almost cross, you'll get a little bubble like this, and the two blocks in question will be highlighted in black. So when I click, it will connect those two blocks. Now I can verify that by turning on the connectivity tool. This is another way to see what connects to what. So I'll tick this box, and then when I mouse over, there's a highlight here. This green highlight happens on the block that you mouse over, and also everything that connects to it. So you can see that this section of 4th Street here connects to this section of 4th Street, this section of 4th Street, this bike trail, and also 21st Avenue South. And you can do this for any block on the map. I'll turn that off for right now. So let's look at another situation. We'll go southeast. Now note that 25th Avenue South right here, according to Cyclopath, this connects down to River Parkway. But that's not actually what is going on here. This is a very steep hill and a little bit of forest right here. There's nothing that goes through here. There's no roads. So we can fix that. Notice that the sticky intersections box is unchecked. So that means that I can select 25th Avenue here and drag it away from West River Parkway. And it looks like right down here is the true end of this road. Now over here on West River Parkway, there are still two blocks. There's this one over here and this one over here. There's an intersection right here. And you can actually see there's a little, the intersection indicator, there's one right here. You actually can't see it very well because of this label. We don't want this spurious intersection, and that's because when Cyclopath computes routes, it puts in a little penalty for every intersection that the route crosses. And that's because it's more complex to go through an intersection than just down a road. So let's get rid of this spurious intersection. The way we do that is we select one block, then I'll hold down the Control key, and I can click on this other block. So now both blocks are selected at once. I'll click on the Advanced tab, and then I'll click down here on Merge Blocks. So now those two blocks of West River Parkway are connected, and now there's just one block. You can see that because there's no intersection indicator here, and if I click on it to select it, it selects the whole thing. So let's go look at a different situation. And that's this pedestrian bridge over Interstate 94. We'll zoom in one. Now note that there's no intersection widgets right here. So Cyclopath knows that there's no intersection right here. But these two blocks are drawn on the same level. Cyclopath doesn't know which block is on top of which other block. So we can fix that. We'll click on the pedestrian bridge right there, and under the Advanced tab there's this item bridge level. So we'll increase that by 1, from 7 to 8. Now notice that this pedestrian bridge is now drawn over the freeway, and that's because the bridge level on the pedestrian bridge, 8, is greater than the bridge level on the freeway, 7, so it's drawn on top. Now let's keep going. Scroll down a little here a bit. Zoom out. Now here's a section right in here where 22nd Avenue is missing. So let's put it in. I'll click on the Create New Block tool. Click right here. And a little baby block appears. So let's put that into place. I'll click on the endpoint there and drag it. Notice how it snaps into place. That happened because there's already a little intersection here to connect to. We'll do the same thing on the south end. And now let's set the attributes on this block. So under the Basic tab, we'll put in the name. And I'll put in 22nd Avenue South. And I'll spell that exactly as it is right down here for consistency. We'll also want to set the type of this block. So these are the options. These are the different types of blocks that Cyclopath has. Now in this case, local road is correct, so we'll leave that. And then one final useful step is to turn on the connectivity tool and check that this new block is connected to all the things that I think it is. And it looks good, so we're cool. One other thing, here's a little spurious block. This looks like an error. It's not really connected to anything. It's not useful to the map, so let's get rid of it. I'll select it. Under the Advanced tab, I'll choose Delete Blocks. Now what this dialog box is telling you is that you should only delete blocks when they really should be removed from the map. If you just want blocks to not be used in the routes that are computed for you, you can use the ratings to rate them impassable. If you want to move a block, you should just move it. You should just adjust the geometry rather than deleting the block and redrawing it. Now in this case, we really don't want this selected block, so let's get rid of it. We'll hit OK. And it's gone. So that's the basics. One last thing, we always want to save changes. Right now these changes are just in my browser, but I want to share them with other GeoWiki users. So I have to save them with that green button there. And then there's, I'll put in a little summary here. This is very useful because it lets other GeoWiki users know what you were thinking when you made your changes. So let's put in a quick summary. And we'll hit save. Now that's the basics. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy Cyclopath.